USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
The Dental Download podcast is your source for insight from conversations with fellow dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Dr. Haley. Let's get into this week's episode. Hello. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download podcast. I am so happy you're here, just like I am every single week. I sincerely appreciate every single person that listens to this show, whether you listen occasionally or whether you're one of those people that is clicking on every Monday morning ready to go. I appreciate each of you so much. I just wanted to start off this episode with that gratitude. So this episode's really just a fun topic. I felt like I was running out of ideas for solo episodes, and this one popped into my head, and I just thought it would be all in good fun to get some assumptions from the internet about dentists and then give my 2 cents, if they're true, if they're false, if they're myths, if they're facts. And I got so many assumptions actually that I might even go through multiple episodes of them. So I'm going to do a couple different ones and we'll just kind of rapid fire through it, keep the episode super quick. But before we get into that, I did want to do a little bit of a catch up since I like to do that on solo episodes. So what's been going on lately? What's new? I actually am freshly back from my bridal shower, which is typically thrown by a woman in your family, and your female wedding guests will also come to this event before the wedding, and they give you gifts, which is so sweet. So my fiance and I made a registry of items that we would love to have for our current home, future life together, and family and friends were so sweet to attend this event and give us a bunch of wonderful gifts. So we are extremely grateful for that as well. So I'm just overflowing with gratitude coming to you in this recording. And we had a really fun theme, so I thought I would share that. I probably will be making some kind of TikTok of it, but it was Love is Brewing Coffee. So it will be coffee themed. So we had a barista cart come in that did lattes, matcha, cappuccinos, all the good stuff with a few different flavors and then some signature seasonal flavors. And it was so good. And then on the hot lattes, they put our wedding logo in the foam and it was so beautiful. So I'm just over the moon grateful. And that was kind of the fun thing of the weekend. It's very late Sunday night, but I could not leave you all hanging. I couldn't leave you without an episode. So we're recording this. Things are going well at work. As I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I'm heading to another implant course soon here. So I will let you all know how it goes once I actually attend. I think there's still 2 or 3 more weeks till I actually attend the course. And the house is coming along. They're almost done framing for the house that we're building here. And after that, it's contractors for electric, plumbing, HVAC, and then that will all get checked and inspected. And we're going to bring in our own third-party inspector that's more biased towards our side and make sure that everything is good, because we've never built a house before, so we don't know just by looking at any of that stuff if it's good or not. And there's a difference between passing and being up to code versus being, good quality. Like, would you want your family to live here, Mr. or Mrs. Inspector? Is kind of what we're hoping to get out of it before they go and they put up all the drywall. And then it's a lot more expensive and time consuming and annoying to change any of that stuff after the fact. Anywhere from probably 8 to 10 weeks from now till all that's done. And then once the drywall is up, my understanding is that it can go really quick from there, like 2 to 3 months, which would put us right about the end of the year. But originally our builders thought the project wouldn't be done until February or March of next year. So I think they're just expecting that there'll be some more delays throughout the process. But, maybe there won't be, and we'll be in our house for Christmas. That would be really cool. We're in no rush here where I sit recording. We are renting this place until March of next year. So we do have plenty of time. If we need to extend it, we're allowed to. And then if we need to break our lease early, we can pay to do that. So whatever happens with the house, we're in no rush. We just want it done well. And it is, as I've always mentioned, very financially stressful, but we try to just focus on the positive and save, and hope for the best. But the idea of becoming homeowners and all the expenses that are even just starting to come with being lot owners and property owners, let alone not even having the whole house yet, it is quite expensive. And we are just being thrust upon with the realities of adulthood as we keep growing up and getting closer to the wedding and now having this property and future house. So it's a lot, but we are trying to roll with it and enjoy it and soak in this life period and know that we're in a building phase and an investing in our future phase, and knowing that in 8-10 months, life is going to be a lot more slow. We think, we'll see, famous last words, right? And we should be kind of just settling into life in a more calm state and have things be more consistent and predictable than what they are right now. I definitely want to do another just like check-in. Maybe I'll do them quarterly now, dentist life check-ins with finances, all that good stuff, how I'm doing on my goals, how things are, what's hard, what's going well, all of that. Probably do quarterly. So in a little bit longer here, we'll add in a new one since we just did one for June.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Before we get into the assumptions and telling you my 2 cents on if things are true or false, I do want to say something that's motivated me this week, something that I learned this week, and something that I'm looking forward to. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the month finishes up. Our team at work has been killing it. My personal compensation as an associate is not affected by how well the office as a whole does. However, all of the team members, non-dentists, are paid a bonus on our collections average over 3 months. So if we are going over our goal, they're getting a certain percentage of that amount over. And we are just crushing it this month. We have collected in a month what some offices do in like almost the entire year. So I'm incredibly proud of our team, and I'm excited to see where the month finishes up. And correspondingly, it's also been a really good month for me individually as a part contributing to the team. It's trending to be my most productive month yet, which is really cool, especially if you remember back to April or so when I was just feeling frustrated that I made it through so many months of the year very stagnant. And I should have, again, looked at it with the gratitude lens that I have consistency in my life that many can't say that they have, but I still wanted to improve upon that consistent number. And finally, that's happening. And now it's end of July, but it's happening. So I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful and thankful and proud of myself as well as my team, because they are such a large part of any success that I have because of the way that our patient appointments are structured and the deep relationship and connection and trust that our patients have with different members of our team, not just myself. I wouldn't be doing any of the things that I'm doing without each member of my team. So it's so crucial to have a great team and appreciate them and show them that they matter to you and let them know verbally and through your energy that they are so key to you and that you recognize the effects that they have on your success. And I try to do that myself. And that would be my encouragement to you for the week, would be to whoever it is in your life, whether you're a dentist or not, notice those people that make a positive impact in your life and call it out and thank them and tell them why they matter to you, because that means so much to people. So that's my little call to action for the week. And as for what I learned this week, if you want to listen to another podcast with me, I did a recording with Dr. Connie Wang of Just a Quick Pinch. And then she also recorded for my episode, but it won't be up for a few more weeks, probably not till end of August or even September, the episode that I did with her for this show. But we recorded for her show, and I think you all are going to love it. We give a lot of communication tidbits and things that I struggled with when I first started working, and challenges that I had, things I wish I would have done sooner, things I wish I would have said is kind of the theme. So go listen to that episode. But what I learned from that was, by reflecting on the theme that she wanted me to talk about for the episode of things you wish you said, things you wish you did in life, and what did you learn from it, was a reminder that I need to be action focused and not timid and not overthink. So when something comes up and it's a conflict, just address it right away when it's a smaller issue. The more you let things build, whether it's internalized that they become a bigger issue, or maybe they really do become a bigger issue because you're not addressing it, it's just harder. So for example, I had an appointment with my primary care doctor and she misunderstood something that I said. And I felt embarrassing to correct her because she's the professional, but I didn't want things wrong in my records. And then for all this other time, I'm just like scooting around the bush that something in my medical records is wrong. So I had to say, excuse me, I think you may have misheard me. This is this. And maybe to someone listening, maybe particularly men, I feel like women are just a little more timid a lot of the times, are told not to speak up, not to make a fuss. Growing up, we're supposed to be like ladylike and quiet and respectful and everything's great all the time. So we, I think, are bred to avoid conflict. So even just saying that, which maybe to some people sounds like no big deal, like she got it wrong, just tell her. But it's hard for me, and it's still hard for me to correct people, right? And to speak up sometimes. So especially when it's for myself. If it's for someone else, I can have more justification behind it. But if it's, for little old me, like it doesn't matter. So it's easy for me to do that in all circumstances of my life. But I practiced what I'm preaching in that moment. And I said, you know what, Haley, you just recorded with Connie about this. You need to just speak up, say it right now. No big deal. We laughed about it and it was totally fine. But I could have let this go on for years and years with misinformation in my medical records and been feeling awkward and like, now it's been in there for years. How am I supposed to tell her now that it was wrong from the first day? Like, that's so much worse. So just address things head on. That's something I learned this week. So that is another challenge and call to action for you for the upcoming week. So let's get into the main segment of the episode, reacting to some assumptions. This one was, I think, spot on. One of the main things that come to people's minds when they think of dentists: all dentists have perfect teeth. I think this is an interesting assumption because I myself have noticed that the oldest generation of dentists, even like retiring dentists, don't necessarily, from my encounterings, have perfect teeth. I feel like orthodontics was not as popular and they might have crooked, misaligned teeth. They might be missing teeth and not care. And that's the norm. And it's a different style of dentistry versus younger dentists or even middle-aged dentists you might find are showcasing their work, the labs that they work with, or another dentist that they refer to. They might have a beautiful set of veneers and crowns in their mouth or really nice whitened teeth, probably have straightened teeth, whether it was with orthodontics as a child or aligners as an adult, or it's prosthetic, like it's straightened through crowns. I think that's super common, and I rarely find younger dentists that don't have really good teeth. I don't like the word perfect because what is perfect in life? Literally nothing. You can feel like your teeth are amazing and love your teeth, but perfect is kind of a silly thing to strive for. So I think a lot of young dentists and middle dentists have really good teeth. I don't know if I'd say perfect, but I do think it makes sense to kind of practice what you preach and show healthy teeth. Doesn't necessarily need to be a $40,000 smile, but well-maintained teeth. At the moment, I have all my natural teeth from orthodontics as a child and then my natural teeth, and I barely ever whiten. I just brush and floss well. But at some point, I'll probably end up getting veneers or crowns as I continue to age and feel like my interiors are getting a little more worn and torn because they already have like crazed lines and things. And when I look in like a really HD mirror, I don't like them up front, but no one else is looking in that much detail. But I could see myself maybe at like 45, 50 getting some smile refresh cosmetically. And that's just because I like to have nice looking teeth. And I think a lot of dentists feel that way because that's what we are showcasing to patients, healthy teeth and taking care of your teeth. So I think that's a relatively accurate assumption if we didn't say the word perfect teeth. I would say most dentists have good teeth is the most accurate. Next one is dentists secretly judge everyone's teeth. I think when I'm watching like TV and things, I notice people's teeth, or if I'm in person, I will notice if people have a really nice smile, but I don't like the word judge. Again, I'm not sitting there saying, oh, it looks like they might have a cavity on two buccal. Like I'm not sitting there trying to diagnose people's mouths and judging them based on how they look in a photo or in real life. I do notice, and maybe I notice like this waitress looks like they haven't had the opportunity to get dental care in a while. Of course, that thought crosses your mind when you kind of see a range of patients come through your office, but I would never personally do it from a judgment aspect. And I would never go up to someone and give them my card and say, you look like you could need a dentist. I just think that's offensive. And if people want to go to the dentist, then they will. And if they have the means to go, they will, versus me going up and trying to recruit someone that I think could benefit from dental care is just not the way I go about it. I'm sure there are people out there that would go as far to say that they feel like they judge people's teeth, but I'm sure they keep it all in their head at least. They're not going to come up and insult someone to their face if they feel like their teeth are not to ideal health, I would imagine. Next one, dentists are obsessed with teeth. They notice everyone's smile as the very first thing. Again, I think that's semi-true. Maybe not every single dentist, but as I said, I think most of us notice people's smile. It's not the first thing I notice most of the time. I feel like I look at people's eyes. So I notice people's eyes, and that kind of tells you a lot about their like emotions and like who they are. Maybe that's just because I'm an empathetic person. But for, like if a patient has a cool pair of glasses, like reading glasses, vision seeing glasses on in the chair, I'm always like, oh my gosh, so-and-so, like I love that color glasses on you. Like I feel like the first thing I look at is people's eyes and connecting with them there. On the street too, not just in my work as a dentist, but then secondarily, I think I notice people's smiles next after their eyes. Next ones are those ones that get a little more controversial maybe. Dental school is easier than medical school. So I would say this is not necessarily true. I personally think I probably did not have to work as hard in dental school as friends that went through medical school because of the way the curriculum's structured and the medical training journey that they have to go on even after medical school. However, I think some of my counterparts in school probably studied as hard as medical students need to. I more so was focused on the clinical aspect, and that's so hard to compare to medical school because they don't typically sit in a skills lab and practice skills for hours and hours and hours a day, multiple days a week. They might have a rotation where they practice a skill while they're there and then they have a competency on it, but that's kind of it. Versus us practicing drilling and then treating patients all during school, it's very, very different. So that was my main focus, was my clinical skills and the application of the bookwork to the clinical skills rather than get 100% on every test. So I think the people that needed 100% in order to specialize probably worked about as hard as a medical student. But I don't know, my friends that went through medical school, I feel like it was more rigorous and they had less free time than I did. But that's my own experience. Dentists don't deal with life or death situations. On a regular basis, this is more true compared to, I'm assuming they mean like physicians, but we do still have medical emergencies that could be life or death. And we do have to be trained on them through school and then through our license process. And the whole office team does as well. The dentist is kind of expected to be the leader and the most knowledgeable when it comes to medical information, but the whole team is trained with life-saving care in the sense of being able to do CPR or administer naloxone or an EpiPen or whatever from our emergency kit in the office. And again, the dentist is expected to be the one to kind of direct that situation calmly and efficiently and assign roles for team members and make sure someone's calling 911, someone's doing this for the patient, someone's grabbing this, and kind of running the situation in that way. So it's much less likely. People aren't coming there in a life or death scenario, but it can happen while they're in the office and in the chair. So we have to be prepared. I've had patients faint multiple times, and I've had patients get woozy or feel nauseous. I don't even want to say it, but so far so good, if you know what I mean beyond that. Next one was most dentists only work 4 days a week. I feel like that's true. I don't know. I mean, I only work 4 days a week. I have friends that work 3 or 4 days a week. I have friends that work 5 or 6 days a week. I think it depends. And I think it depends what journey and stage you are in for your own career. But I would certainly say that's the goal for most people. I feel like the people that work more than 4 days are in a state where they just feel like they need to grind financially, or they're trying to get their startup off the ground. But I would say that for the most part, people want to work less. I mean, who doesn't want to work less? Like, let's work less and earn the same, or let's work less and earn more. How can I make my money work for me? Like, everyone in society kind of wants that. So I feel like that's accurate, whether they do it or they want to do it. I think most dentists work 4 days a week or wish that they did. If you're not a specialist, you won't be able to stand out if you're just a general dentist, basically, was an assumption. So I think by that they mean that like general dentistry is dull and like you don't have much to offer because you're not the specialist. But I feel like in dentistry, if you know much about it, at least in the present landscape, because specialty isn't required and you're able to do almost every type of procedure with a general dentist license, you don't need to specialize and do formal extra training. You have the scope to do specialty procedures if you get extra continuing education in it without formal residency schooling. So you can be paying for continuing education courses and getting hands-on experience and a lot of knowledge and training without being in an educational or institutional, I should say, setting, such as a university or a hospital residency program. So I feel like people that know about dentistry understand that, but I'm sure there's plenty of patients, especially in saturated places where you have a pick of easy to get to specialists versus a general dentist and you want a specific procedure. I would assume a lot would like to go see a specialist, but there's also a general feeling, it seems, amongst patients that they like their dentist once they get to know them, their general family dentist, that if they offer a procedure, then they're probably going to do it there, because it's a little bit lower cost than specialist charge and they already know you and trust you. They maybe don't have to get set up with a new office, meet new people. It's just more comfortable for them. So that's more what I've noticed, is that patients actually gravitate towards the general dentist doing more advanced work if it is offered at the practice, because it's easier and more comfortable for them. As I mentioned, I'm probably going to do a part 2 of this if this episode is well received. Let me know if you think that these are interesting to hear and if you have any more maybe controversial assumptions you want my opinion on. I would be happy to answer them. So we'll call this the end of a potential part 1 of reacting to assumptions about dentists. And I will see you all next Monday in our next episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great week.